guys, Jess here and welcome to day 3 of our Cloth Nappy Sew Along. Today we're going to be talking about materials, what materials you'll need and where to buy them from. In today's video I will streamline the information for you to show you the basics of the fabrics that you will need to get started making your cloth nappies, and also the cheaper alternatives for those of you who are going more frugal. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, this video is for you, so please stay tuned. Did you know that you could make cloth nappies using just 2 materials? Only 2 materials. They're really easy to source and they're really affordable. The first one is PUL. P-U-L stands for polyurethane laminate. It is basically a laminated material. It has a light stretch across the grain and it is waterproof or water resistant to a degree. So you'll need that for your outside, and for the inside, for the second quite cheap and easy to source fabric is microfleece. You can find this at any of your local fabric stores and it's very affordable. Microfleece is the lining that goes against the baby skin. Then of course you're going to need some boosters or absorbent layers on the inside. There are quite a few affordable ways that you can do this, but the number 1 recommended material for this is bamboo fleece. You can use bamboo fleece or bamboo terry. The only difference is that one is brushed with a machine to make it fleecy or fluffy, and the other one is unbrushed and it has loops on the underside, much like fabric that you would find inside track pants. The reason people recommend to use bamboo or hemp is because it is extremely absorbent and it's quite thin, so you can get a lot of layers inside your nappy that are going to absorb as much wear as possible. It's also very hard wearing, so don't be afraid to wash it very hot, and it's best to dry it out in full sun as much as you possibly can. Or if you're a little bit slack like me, pop it in your dryer and you'll have your boosters dried in no time. Okay, if you're wanting to step up your nappy making game, you might want to add a decorative layer of minky for your outside. The best advice I can give for this is to treat your minky and your PUL as one layer. You would cut them out and do a long basting stitch on your sewing machine. That way when you layer them to sew your pieces together, they are already sandwiched together. And definitely invest in wonder clips because these things are fantastic. They're not going to pierce holes in your fabric and they don't slip and slide around, and you're definitely not going to prick your finger on one of these guys. Otherwise, if you don't have wonder clips, definitely use lots of pins because you do not want your fabric slipping and sliding around, because that will be a headache. Also guys, another really helpful tip is to cut extra seam allowance around your fabrics to allow for that little bit of movement. What a lot of people recommend to do is to use a fabric marker on your PUL where you want to sew along, and sew along that line and then cut your extra seam allowance off afterwards. Now for my top places that I recommend to buy these materials from, I'm going to start with a micro fleece. Probably not top of the range, but I recommend buying your micro fleece from Lincraft. I find it to be quite affordable, and I wait for their big sale, so I get it for about $7 a metre. Why micro fleece? Micro fleece isn't going to absorb any of the moisture. It is going to wick it and suck it right through into your bamboo layers, which will be underneath it. My second favourite place to buy it from would be Green Beans Australia. They have epic sales on seasonally, so keep an eye out for those. You'll see it listed as micro fleece or micro chamois, or micro chamois as we Aussies like to say, and I actually just picked this up last week. It's a bright fluoro lime green and it is gorgeous, and it's going to go with this minky that I bought from Lincraft on sale a couple of months ago, and I just realized that they match, so that's really cool. This is going to be my micro fleece for my lining, and this is going to be my minky for my decorative outer, and I will use hidden PUL sandwiched in between the two. Then I will use snap-in boosters. So this will be my Made by Jack's Mum Sunbeam nappy, so keep an eye out for that. Now back to the PUL. The places that I like to source my PUL from, if I'm using solid PUL, I go for Green Beans Australia or Snaps Australia. Both are fantastic quality. Alternatively, if you are wanting a printed PUL, there are a couple of options that you do have to you. The first thing I would say, like I said in the last video, is if you have a favourite custom fabric group, then check to see if they do print on minky and PUL bases as well. Hey Penny Designs offers all of theirs on minky and PUL, so definitely go and check them out because their quality is amazing and they have some really cute designs that you're going to love. Or if you're feeling a little bit cheeky like me, I have a really cool tip for you. So any of you that know me well enough would know that I'm absolutely in love with foxes. I'm fox mad. I think they're absolutely adorable, and I've made Ruben a whole bunch of things out of the fabulous foxes that I got. So I actually was looking through eBay for fox pull and I could not find any until I saw that you could buy pail liners from a Chinese seller that had fabulous foxes inspired. So this is actually a pail liner bag. It had elastic across the top, which I've just cut off. And I'm going to turn it inside out. And I'm going to cut the side seams. Then I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to trace off my nappy covers with these. And these will be some nighttime covers and some all-in-two shells that I'm going to be doing as well. This whole thing here cost me less than $30 shipped, and it didn't come all that quickly, but I did get it and I'm super excited. Now, if you're wanting to make covers, you're going to want some fold over elastic. I bought this from Green Beans and it was less than $10 for 5 meters, and I'm going to use this with this to make some covers. And I also have some black snaps that I got from Green Beans as well, which I think are going to look fantastic on this, and it's going to really make those details on the foxes pop. Now, of course, if you're only starting out and you don't really want to invest in fabrics, I have some frugal tips for you. This is where you step into the territory of making hybrids. So for your water resistant layer that you have hidden on the inside, you can use fleece, just regular polar fleece, not the micro fleece that we were talking about that goes in your lining, but you want proper thick fleece. That's going to repel moisture up until a certain point, then it will start to compress and leak through. But they are fantastic for around the house, and if you're in the habit of changing nappies quite regularly, these are going to be fantastic. And you can wash those in hot water and you can throw them in the dryer and you can do whatever you want to those nappies, and they're going to last really, really well. So normally with hybrids, what people put on the outside is cotton lycra or just regular jersey. You can upcycle t-shirts and you can upcycle old dressing gowns and things like that, or blankets, kids blankets, receiving blankets that you don't particularly use anymore. You can use those on your nappy. So you can use your t-shirt, jersey on the outside, and you can use your receiving blanket, fleece blankets for the inside. And then you could use your jersey again for the layer that goes against baby skin. Really, really cheap and easy to use, and they are going to be very, very serviceable nappies to you. There's one other material that I almost forgot to mention, and that is flannelette. This can be used for absorbency inside your nappies. A big reason why I don't like to use flannelette, well, there's two actually, and one is that it's not going to last you very long, and the other is that it doesn't stretch, so you can't use it many places inside your nappy. Flannelette is probably more commonly used as toppers or boosters. So you'll sew this down over the top of your absorbent layers, and it's going to catch a lot of that weight. One of the big reasons why I don't like flannelette is because it's woven and it will start to tear and fall apart after many, many washes. So if you're wanting to use flannelette and you're going to use it lightly, or you're needing it in a rush, flannelette is definitely a viable option for you. You can buy flannelette cheap from Spotlight or Lincraft and get flannelette clothing from the op shop. You can use old pajama pants, things like that. I actually use flannelette for making my cloth baby wipes, so stock up on some of that if you're wanting to make those. And before I forget to mention it, there is another alternative that you can use for your lining inside your nappies, and that is velour, or cotton bamboo velour. And this stuff I do buy from Green Beans as well. And it has a really soft velvety-like texture. And this one is really, really nice against the baby skin. Velour comes in a great range of colours, and it's also very absorbent as well. So you can use this in addition to your layers of bamboo for your absorbency. It's very commonly used inside cloth nappies, cloth pads and nursing pads as well. So you can definitely buy a lot of this and you'll get a lot of mileage out of it. Now, if you're wondering where you could source minky from if you didn't want to get custom printed minky, you can actually buy your minky from Spotlight or Lincraft really affordably, especially when you go look on the clearance beds for those sales. Behind me I have some custom printed minky that I bought from Wicked Fabrics quite a few years ago. I've used these for nappies, I've used these for cloth pads and nursing pads as well, and I still have quite a bit left. You can definitely tell the quality difference between custom printed minky and Spotlight and Lincraft minky. The biggest one being the stretch factor that you do find in your custom printed minky. Now, stretch is quite an important aspect to sewing cloth nappies. Pads are designed so that it stretches around the baby and it sort of molds to their shape. For using quilter's cotton on the outside as a decorative layer, which you can totally do and I've done it, it's not going to fit as well and for as long. So definitely look for stretch fabrics to use on the outers of your nappies. Just a tip. The minky that you can buy from Spotlight and Lincraft is referred to as low stretch minky. Low stretch minky will definitely have enough stretch in it to do what you need it to do. These are some prints that I got from Spotlight, and these are the solids that I got from Spotlight, except for this one here. This one I got from Green Beans. And this one has a nice amount of stretch to it in one direction. So I cut it so that the stretch, the greater stretch, goes across from side to side. And this is what they call one of their low stretch minkies. But it is really, really plush, which is really, really nice. In my last video, I talked about the tie-dye minkies that I have here, and I know that Wickedly Woven or Wicked Fabrics did a lot of those back in the day, but sorry Vivi, I can't tell you which ones are yours. I just know that I love all of them. And these are still floating around, and you can definitely find these in D-stashes, and there are a lot of places like Frugal still sell these minkies. So go and check those out. I have the links for those stores in my blog post, which is linked below. There are a ton of other places where you can source minky from, and I'm going to have those linked in my blog post as well. So if you're wanting to source some really nice minky, go and check that out. Now on to closures. We have the option of using hook and loop, or as it's more commonly called, Velcro, or we have the snap option. I bought my Velcro last week from Green Beans. Comes in lots of 6 meters, and I bought 2 packets of the loop, and I bought 1 of the hook because you were going to use a lot more of the loop because you put a long piece across the front of your nappy, but you only use a short little square on the wings. So you're definitely going to use a lot more of the loop or the softer Velcro. Now on to the scary part. The beast. You definitely do not need to have one of these, and let me be brutally honest with you. I regret buying this. Yes, I do. I'm really sorry for those of you who love your snap press. It's not necessary. That's my opinion. I did buy the little hand snap pliers quite a few years ago when I first started snapping nappies. Then I upped my equipment to one of these, and I was so disappointed. It's so heavy, it's so clunky, it's really, really hard to use. And when I was pregnant with Ruben and I was doing this, I was getting a lot of muscle strain doing this. So it's definitely not something that I would say is an absolute must. If you're selling nappies, that's a whole other kettle of fish, and I'm not going to get into that. There are a lot of discussions in a lot of the nappy making groups. Those would be the places to talk about that. But I'm here to tell you that you at home, as a mum or a grandma or a friend who's making these nappies to give to somebody that you know personally, you only need the cheap hand snap press that you can buy off of eBay. And if you buy it from a Chinese seller and you have a few weeks to wait up your sleeve, you can actually get one really, really cheaply. Now, I will preface this by saying you're not going to get good results out of the snaps that come with that. So then you want to hop on to Green Beans Australia or Snaps Australia or Keffin's Sewing Haven, and you'll buy their snaps and you'll use those in your hand pliers. So for snaps, you have your caps, you have your sockets, and you have your stud. The really cool thing about the handheld pliers is that you don't need an extra fitting to do your sockets and your studs. It all just goes together, whether you're doing the male or the female side. Whereas with my big monster here, I have to change. There's a big screw in here that I have to undo every single time I change from sockets to studs. So I just thought I would clarify for those of you who weren't really sure the situation with snaps, and we'll definitely be covering that in a video shortly. And we definitely can't forget elastics. So we already talked about fold over elastic. Now I'm going to talk about the elastic that goes in your legs and across the back. It is widely accepted and recommended to use 10mm braided elastic. You can also use Lastin, which is a clear elastic. I've never worked with Lastin before. I'm sure it works just as well, but I always use the braided. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope that this video helps you to have more of an understanding about the materials that you need to start making your cloth nappies and where to source them from. If you're wanting more detailed description and a list of the fabrics that we talked about today and their cheaper alternatives and the places where to buy them from, definitely go back to my blog post and have a thorough read through there. I will be attaching a PDF for you to print off so that you can write yourself a shopping list of what you need to buy. If anybody in our sew along has any suggestions or recommendations of cheaper places to buy things or places that I may not have covered or that I may not know about, definitely let me know in the comments below or in our sew along. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll meet you back at the sew along, and I hope to see you soon with all of your fabrics so we can get started.